Hello everyone, welcome back to the Road to Retiring channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to have a look at Airbnb, what the current fair value for this is, and what the price could be in 2028. If you enjoy this kind of content where we value stocks, please do drop the video a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below to let me know any other stocks you're interested in me speaking about. To start off with, I wanted to show how Adobe's price has changed year to date, and you can see it's up 47%. This has obviously grown a massive amount in this time, and I thought it would be interesting to see if it's now overvalued or if there's room for plenty more growth in the coming years. So to do this, I wanted to have a look at my metrics and my historical growth rates. But for Airbnb, if we look for 5 years, only it went onto the market in 2020, right at the end in December. So we don't have that much historical growth and estimates to work with. So we're going to have a look at how things have changed since 2020. And if you look, it was negative really far, and their earnings were really far in the negatives in 2020. But they shot up into the positives, it now being a profitable company in 2022, and there's really nice growth rates expected from $3.53 expected per share in 2023, all the way up to $5.90 in 2026. Really nice growth rates expected there, and similarly for sales, grown from 3.3 billion to 8.4 billion from 2020 to 2022, and projected to reach 14.1 billion in 2026. So again, really nice growth rates expected there. And you know, the last two things we like to look at for growth rates are cash flow and equity, and they've grown really nicely over recent years. The cash from operating activities is 10 times higher currently, over 10 times higher than it was in 2017. And for equity, you can see this was in the negatives at minus 500 million in 2018. And is now sitting at 5.56 billion. So these metrics we like to see growing have actually been really nicely increasing over recent years, and so I'm quite confident in their ability to grow these continuously and hopefully into the years to come. Now, when we look at how the management is investing funds, you know I like to look at the return on invested capital, and if we look at this, you can see it's actually growing really nicely since it became profitable. It wasn't profitable in quarter 3 of 2021 or quarter 4 of 2021, but when we come into 2022, you can see it was at 12.68%, a little bit above that 10% benchmark I like to look for, but each quarter this is growing nicely to 18.7%, up to 22%, and currently right now at 25%. I'm quite confident the management are investing funds efficiently with Airbnb, as the return on invested capital is growing at a really nice rate, and it's at a level way above the 10% that I like to look for from companies. And the last thing I like to check to see what my risk is of the company is their debt and how sort of troublesome that is. If we look at the total liabilities, you can see they have 2.28 billion in long-term debt in quarter 4 of 2022, and their free cash flow is 3.47 billion. So they're able to pay off all their long-term debt in just that first year. I feel really comfortable they're not going to be in any sort of imminent financial trouble, as their free cash flow can cover that long-term debt within 1 year. So because of this, I'm going to set my margin of safety here to 15%. This feels slightly above the 10% benchmark I go for if everything's perfect, but that's just because we have not that much information to go over in terms of historical growth, and we have quite high analyst estimates for earnings, so if they miss by a little bit, I want to have that margin of safety there. Now, the other values I want to go over on this left hand side are the analyst 5-year estimate. Now, the reason I'm using this 18.7 and I'm confident in it is because the realistic growth rate is 30.73% based on the net income over the shareholder equity and long-term debt. There is no dividend with this, so that means I'm looking for my 9.5% discount rate, because I want to see that 9.5% return each year from this individual stock that we're going into. Now lastly, I want to have a look at the share dilution. Now this I put at 0%. Now they have been buying back shares, but then they haven't again, so it's not the most consistent. But you can see, look, they finally started to buy some back from 2021. They've reduced them from 633 million to 631 million. You can see right now that's gone up a tiny bit to 631.93 million. So although they started to buy some back in 2022, they have started to issue some again. Overall, this is pretty flat, not changing a massive amount, especially since 2021. So for now, I'm leaving the share dilution at 0%. Now when we're doing this PE fair value calculation, I've told you already I'm going to use 18.7%, which is the 5-year estimate, and that's going to take us exactly from the values that you saw on the graph here, from $3.53 earnings per share in 2023, $5.90 per share in 2026, which you can see here. Now, I've gone for a price over earnings multiple of 22. Now, there obviously isn't a lot of historic price over earnings values for Airbnb, as it hasn't been on the market that long, but the sector median trades at around 15.86, and I do think there'll be a premium with Airbnb because of the high earnings growth rates that are associated with it. So I feel comfortable with a level at 22, and I could even see this being as high as 25 or 30. It definitely wouldn't surprise me to see those levels, but 22 is where I feel comfortable with the estimate. And based on this would give us a fair value and 2028 price of $98.81 right now to buy, and a 2028 price of $183. So we'd be looking for it to fall about 20% before buying, but there are still some quite nice returns to be made by 2028 from $124 right now. Now for price over sales, similarly to above, we've gone with the analyst estimate of 14% revenue growth from 9.6 billion to that 14 billion, which you can see here, 2023 to 2026. We've gone with that estimate for our own calculation here, and if we look at the price to sales multiple, how this typically trades for Airbnb, you can see that this was 26 in 2020, fell to 17 in 2021, fell all the way to around 7 in 2022, now back up at around 10. Because of this, I feel comfortable at that lowest level around 7. I've gone for 7.5 in our calculation here, and that would give us a fair value in 2028 price of $108.64 right now, fair value, $201 2028 price. So again, really nice growth from this $124 right now, but we'd be looking for it to fall quite a bit further, around 13%, before we were looking to buy some. And lastly, I want to have a look at the price over operational cash flow. We've gone for 2028 value for this of 7 billion. This is in line with just a slightly over their net income, because obviously the operational cash flow includes additional things to net income like the depreciation and non-cash items. When we add this up, it will be slightly higher than the net income, not too much higher, and I think around that 7 billion mark seems reasonable. We look at the sector median for price to cash flow for Airbnb. This is around 13.14, but again, I think with these high growth rates at around 15%, 18 feels more than reasonable and a level that I'd feel comfortable at. And based on that set of assumptions and estimates, it gives us a fair value of $100.62 of a 2028 price of $186.35. So if we take the average of all of these, this gives us a fair value of $102.69 for right now, with a 2028 price of $190.18, which would be an 8.76% compound annual growth rate. So not a bad return at all if you were buy now and it hit these values. However, because there's not so much historic growth and information to take in, I've had to set the margin of safety around 15%, and that brings our fair value to $102.69, which is definitely a level it's seen pretty recently. As I said, year to date, you look, this was under $100 in 2023. It was at $84.90 in January, and only crossed that $100 mark in mid-January. So definitely levels we could see again, but right now I'd be waiting for it to fall a bit, as this 47% increase has taken it slightly above where my buy value would be for Airbnb. Now let me know if you would change any of these multiples. As I say, it could easily be very different, and if we saw a 30p multiple, then that would make the fair value 134, and that would mean that it's green and we should be buying some now. So as I say, these multiples impact everything. Let me know if you think I should change any of these, or if any of them seem a bit too high to you. And yeah, please do drop a comment down below for any other stocks you'd like to hear about. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It's been Road to Retiring. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.